commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of digging the hole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019,
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of digging
darkness.
the hole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world in a just. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. Broadcasting live online. Turn it on. Turn it up.
Body is your ma. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker, Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. That's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same to the end. To the end. You are God. One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign. That's why forever call you great.
Okay, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. And those of you on other planets as well, I want to salute each and every one of you and say welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Show. Today is the 6th day of September, the year 2023, and it's called Judgment Day in Nigeria. But let me say good morning to my colleagues, co-presenter Ms. Olayomi Koiki and my able producer Mr. Francis Gayi. Good morning to you, Frank, all the way in Ghana. Good morning to all the presenters on Starr Radio UK. And then a special good morning also goes to Phoenix all the way in Aberdeen, Kojo D, Mr. Kofi Ali, Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama. And all you wonderful people who have tuned in this morning to listen to us. Shamsuddin, good morning to you. Yeah, it says Yoruba Nation, that is what we want. I'm Jenna Dedeji, good morning. Aziz, good morning. Ulakunle, massive good morning to you as well. And let me say good morning to my bishop himself, Bishop Adeshina. Good morning. And to all the staff at the RBS office. I don't know whether today you are in the office because I know that there is supposed to be a sit at home, or is it a holiday or whatever it is. Okay, Pastor Mo, good morning to you. Well. It is a Wednesday edition of the Morning Show, so we start in default position. Yes, rushing to make sure that we catch up. But this afternoon there's going to be the Prime Minister's question time, the first time after the resumption of Parliament. But before then, I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, weather forecast, and the travel update as well. We'll move from there to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. And then we'll have Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you the updates from Nigeria. But at the moment, I've got some update that is coming from Nigeria from my Bishop Adeyemo. Yes, Adeshina Adeyemo. Yes. And he says that, you know what? He says, good morning, Starr Radio UK. My regards to every one of you. We are monitoring adjudication of the electoral case live in Nigeria. Everybody is waiting for the final verdict. The Nigerian has become a case study. It is well with my people. Let's see what happens there. But interestingly, monitoring some of the stories that myself and Olayomi Koiki will be looking at, Asari Dokubo's boys are threatening trouble if presidential tribunal sacks Tinubu. So, when we talk about rule of law, we talk about democracy. Is it democracy that we're talking about? But it is not time for that. We're going to be talking more about that in a moment. So at 11 o'clock, we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki. We'll be going through all the other stories that is making the rounds this morning. And then we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. At 11:30, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions. And then at 12 o'clock, we take you to the House of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. But we'll do our best to make sure that if we are having any feed from the tribunal adjudication or the verdict, we will be bringing it live to you.
My heartbeat.
So stay tuned, don't touch the dial, but share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. And as many of you who are monitoring everything there, continue to share with us what is happening live from Nigeria.
You hold the world in your hand.
The quote for the day says, we may be living in a .com era, but certainly the principles of creation have not changed.
Same for now, yesterday, and forevermore.
So that take me straight to the weather front, where in the UK for this week, I bet you we're having a Scotch sunshine. So today, it's going to be remaining dry with clear skies in the afternoon, a hot and muggy day. Once again, this evening will be dry with skies clear. Clear skies once again for all. These conditions will persist throughout the overnight period. Mist and fog will develop in places as well. Temperature 31 degrees, but mine is saying 32 degrees. Now, pollen level is going to be moderate, UV level is going to be high, and pollution is going to be moderate as well. Sunset 1937 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:20 hours. But this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So now let's move on to all of you the travel updates wherever you are this morning. Don't touch the dial. Let's take a quick commercial break and I'll bring you the travel update. Stay tuned. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads as to keep it navigated. I can tell you, in Nigeria this morning, there's so much tension there. I'll be telling you more about that. But when it comes to your travel this morning, if you're here in the UK, moving around this morning, going about your chores, this is how it's going to be for you. A4 has got serious delays. If you can avoid it, do your best to avoid it. That's the roads in London, the major roads in London. Now on the underground as well, this rail line has got severe delays between Earls Court and Ealing Broadway, Richmond, due to an earlier trespasser on the track at Hammersmith. There's good service on the rest of the line though. Jubilee line has got minor delays due to train shortages, and then Piccadilly line minor delays due to earlier trespasser on the track at the Hammersmith. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads as we keep it navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio travel update. I come to where every weekday from 10:40. The London Tramlink, good service, DLR, good service, London Overground, good service there as well, and everything seems to be moving very well on that bit. Now, the River Bus has also got good service, and London Cable Car, good service there as well. The final segment of the travel update, and that is the National Rail. On the National Rail, I've got Greater Anglia, that's got minor delays, Northern Rail Special Service, and Thames Link, minor delays. So on that note, as I would say, you know that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Keep your eyes on the roads.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, and I call this day Judgment Day for Nigeria, where for the first time I think a tribunal, there's not been that kind of tension the way that we're seeing it today, but well, that's what's going to be happening there. Well, I'm the global trotting now, so Save Nigeria Today, hashtag Save Nigeria Today, Peps, judgment, okay, Shamsuddin is saying Yoruba Nation, that is what we want. God bless you all. Spotted in the Presidential Tribunal Court ahead of the verdict, Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad, Labour Party's Julius Abure, APC's National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje, and Nasarawa State Governor, and well, there are a few of them there as well. Presidential poll, heavy security as tribunal decides Atiku Obi's petition against Tinubu. Well, Lagos Katsina Sokoto workers shun NLC strike grounds Abuja states. And then judges arrive in the courtroom. So as I'm saying, our reporters are monitoring live everything that will be telling you what is happening. Justice of the election presidential tribunal arrived at the court at about 9:27 a.m. to deliver judgment on the 3 petitions that are seeking to remove President Tinubu from office. Now, Obi absent in court as Abure stands in, and Shetima Ribadu, Bajambia Mila, others present as Presidential Tribunal delivers judgment. So, as I read, Tinubu, Judgment Day, pro-Tinubu protesters storm Presidential Election Tribunal, but they are saying that the place has been, cordoned or has got a strong security presence. So how come that they've allowed such people to storm the place? Now, Asari Kubo's boys are threatening trouble if Presidential Tribunal sacks Tinubu. Now, we're talking about the rule of law. Rule of law. We're talking about democracy. So, if it is found out that he has gotten that position unfairly, if this is the rule of law, then he needs to be out. But if people are threatening, then that is when we talk about what is happening in Gabon, what is happening in Mali, well, where people think that, look, people have skewed the system and they've got all the institutions under their fingers or their fingernails, and they are just turning them the way that they want to please them. But well, let's see what is happening. We'll be telling you more about that in a moment once we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on, who will be bringing you all the details that you got to know. Tribunal judgment, lays of prominent APC, PDP, Labour Party politicians in court. Well, I know that Atiku is also not in court. Atiku is not in court. Tinubu is not in court. And Obi is not in court. So we'll see. But information coming through, police fire tear gas. Please, okay, let me. Nope. Okay, it says a detachment of officers from Lagos State Police Command has dispersed students who converge on the University of Lagos axis over fee hike protest. Well, they also have their concerns and they want to protest about it, but the police have fired tear gas at them as well. But we'll tell you more about all that in a moment. Now, in other stories making the rounds on the African continent, at least 2 killed in Guinea anti-junta protests on the eve of coup anniversary. Says, I'll be bringing you more on that front as well. And then Eswatini receives Taiwan's President Chai Ing-wen for a 4-day trip. Okay. And then Central African president appears on Gabon State TV, welcomed by Oligui. The transitional president of Gabon, General Blaise Oligui Nguema, receives the president of the Central African Republic, Faustin Archange Touadera. Why? Are they now trying to broker some peace deal or a way out for Ali Bongo? Well, we'll be monitoring all that in a moment. But it is all coming away from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, when it comes to Ghana as well, Alan benefited from a fraudulent election, Ras Mubarak is saying, and then let's be change makers, Bala tells world youth. Okay, and the technology can boost a grade in Africa. That's what the Speaker of Parliament in Ghana is saying. Alban Bagbin seems to be saying this morning. Okay, minority reschedules Occupy Bank of Ghana demo to September 12, as I did say. Massive turnout at Dokua's Okaikwe not held outreach. The aspiring parliamentary candidate for Okaikwe North constituency of the New Patriotic Party, Nanama Dokua CMIJ, has organized a medical outreach for their constituents to diagnose, treat, and prevent some illness there as well. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, now let's move on to other parts of the world. Let's look at some of the stories making the rounds there as well. Now, when it comes to other parts of the world, ex-Proud Boys leader sentenced to 22 years in jail. Now, an emotional Enrique Tarrio, 39, tells the court he is ashamed of his role in the U.S. Capitol riot. What? Okay, I'm talking about institutions that work. Institutions that work. Okay. Ukraine reports deadly drone attack on port area. A Russian attack on port facilities in the Ismail area killed one person, and local governor has said. And then Aung San Suu Kyi, ill but denied urgent care. And that's what his son is saying. Sources say severe toothaches have left the 78-year-old detained since 2021, unable to eat. Okay. Well, let them bring her dentist. Yes, bring all the accoutrements and come and fix her teeth for her. They don't want her to go out. Okay, pair kicked off flight with vomit smeared seats. Air Canada apologizes to passengers kicked off a flight for refusing seats with visible vomit residue. Interesting. Okay. Well, I bet they have to sue. Let them sue. But interestingly, here in the UK, Wagner is to be declared a terrorist organization by the UK. The question is, what do they actually care? Wagner, the Russian mercenary group, is said to be proscribed as a terrorist group by the UK government, meaning it will be illegal to be a member or support the organization. A draft order to be laid in Parliament will allow it to assess its assets to be categorized as terrorist property and seized. The Home Secretary said Wagner was violent and destructive, a military tool of Vladimir Putin's Russia. Okay, well, we know the Wagner boss died a couple of weeks back, or thereabout. Yeah, and he's been buried as well. Okay. Now, building work was scrapped at 13 schools with RAC. They were among those to lose out when the coalition government scrapped a labor rebuilding scheme. Oh my goodness, this doesn't augur well for the ruling party. But Leicester City helicopter's pilot could do very little to stop fatal crash. The crash in 2018 outside Leicester City Stadium killed 5 people, including the club chairman. Those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning here in the UK. Sunak to be quizzed on school concretes as Prime Minister question time returns today. And then Sarah Sharif's dad and stepmom released a video. Now, Orphan Sharif and his partner described Sarah's death as an incident and claimed they will cooperate with the UK authorities. Well, they fled the country, but now they recorded a video to say they are going to cooperate with authorities here in the UK. So let's see what happens from there. It's all coming away from Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 11 o'clock. Let's take a musical break whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi to join in, and then we will continue from there. So stay tuned. Don't you touch the dial. Let's talk about the names of talkatives. Okay, just bear with me. Just bear with me.
favorite song on this album, y'all. It's no secret in our world.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I did say earlier on, well, it is a very, very packed day for us. Because I've got Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who will be taking you straight to the courtrooms. Not the courtrooms, the courtroom in Abuja, where the courts are going to give their verdict for today. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial at all.
No attention, give no thoughts.
Don't you worry, when it comes to the music, we're going to bring you all the rest of it by the close of the show. But for now, let me welcome the White Lion himself, my brother and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, this morning. Yomi, good morning.
Good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie. A very good afternoon to those in a different time zone, and also good evening if you're somewhere in Japan, New Zealand. It's 2 minutes past 11, and welcome once again to the Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'll come back again now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes. How are you doing? How is the family?
Well, the Japanese says that when things are going in accordance, the family will definitely be excited. We always pray for not just our family, we pray for many African family, especially a continent that have so much, but it seems that many families are struggling on a daily basis. On the other side here, we can only say we appreciate that we've been given the opportunity as probably the third generation to arrive in UK, where there's been a lot of relationship between Nigeria and UK from the 18th century till date, and it seems that the family are doing very great. It's a quiet, as you can tell, and that shows that any children still at home by this time of the day must also be able to give explanation to the school.
Well, that's what they have to do when it comes to this part of the world. But when it comes to Nigeria and other parts of the African continent, what do we see? But well, today is Judgment Day. So we're not going to be beating about the bush. We're going to be taking you straight there and we're going to be looking at it. But Latif Abdullahi, good morning to you and thank you very much for joining us. It's a well done, my brother. Okay. Now, to all of you who are on the various platforms, other various platforms listening or watching us, we salute each and every one of you. So, behind Mr. Olayomi Koiki is a view of what is happening in the courts. Now, I'll go straight to him for him to tell us who and who are there. But information that was coming through that there was a strong security presence there. However, Asari Dokubo's boys are threatening trouble. So, where are the security? And how come they are in the court premises and they are threatening that they're going to trouble? They're going to stoke trouble there. Yomi.
Well, Asari Dokubo, I don't know exactly where he is, across the country, but we know that information coming out as there's a lot of things happening today. I know we are very, very pressed with time, but later on, we will be having the 2.5 hours to discuss everything that will be the outcome. Right now, the images you're watching is the judges resuming into the FCT court this morning at exactly about almost 9:20 a.m. As I can speak to you right now, Justice Aruna Tusima, the chairman of the panel, of the 5-member panel, says the judgment will be lengthy as the proceeding begins. So it is not going to be a quick answer as many of us want it right now. It might take up to the afternoon, or it might even take up to the late evening. But whatever it is, like they say, even if you are pregnant and there is some situation, you are still likely to deliver that baby, especially if you're somewhere in a very civilized society. Asari Dokubo boys is threatening trouble if the presidential tribunal sacks Tinubu. Nobody knows what is going to be the outcome. I can confirm that the president have arrived at the G20 it seems that many Nigerians say that the president actually ran away. This is what they are saying. I don't have evidence to that because the G20 in India doesn't start until Saturday, and you wonder why the president travels. Even the G20 says the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the first leader around the world that has arrived at the G20. But who is already present at the court? Before I come back again to you in the studio, I can confirm that Peter Obi is not at the court, but the Vice President Shetima has arrived. That is the images there. You can look behind you. The chairman of the APC is there. The chairman of the Labour Party is there as well. But it seems that today will be a very big day. The petition of Peter Obi and the Labour Party against Tinubu and INEC and Shetima, APC first on the cost list. Parties in the matter are making appearance. Like I said, the party chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Aburu, is actually on the seat, and likewise Bajabiamila, the chief of staff. I'm not sure why he did not travel with the president, because we remember that when Buhari was there, his chief of staff was moving around with him from one end to the other. But it seems that Tinubu must have told Femi Bajabiamila, that told us during the prayer ground, during the Eid, that the Almighty Allah will carry the weight and the burden of Nigeria on behalf of the president. All that will be determined today when the result of the judgment will eventually come. But like I said, it's going to be a lengthy one. I will come back now again to you in the studio, as there's so much development around Abuja and the Twitter is already busting. Nobody knows what is going to happen, but the security agency, as information reaching us through the wire this morning, have blocked off as many checkpoints going into Abuja this morning.
Well, it's interesting if they blocked up many checkpoints to stop people from coming in. But if it is true that Asari Dokubo's boys have been able to come in there, then we have a problem. We have a serious problem. Because I was deliberating about the whole thing, and I was thinking that, before Tinubu was sworn in, I did ask you that question after the elections when Labour and PDP were saying that they think that the election wasn't free and fair. I was asking the question that, are they going to have an interim leader so that the hearing will take place? Then after that, whoever is, if Tinubu is cleared that he had won, then fine, he can be sworn in. Or if there's supposed to be a rerun, there could be a rerun. Because I'm looking at it this way. Now that Tinubu is in power. Now let's take it that Tinubu genuinely won the election. Let's take it that way. Now, don't you think that Labour and PDP are going to think that, look, because of his position as the leader of the country, and especially when our institutions are not that independent and strong and robust, like here, when the Prime Minister does nonsense, we have the police going there to go and apprehend him. I mean, Tinubu will have his hands there and be moving things around. So, though, let's put it this way. I mean, let's play the devil's advocate. If it happens that the court clears Tinubu today, no, they're going to say that it's because he had an influence on the judiciary. So you get where I'm coming from. So if Asari Dokubo's boys have been allowed in there, then I don't think that everything that is going on is fair for the time being. Yomi.
Well, many of Nigerians believe that justice will be served, and that means that whatever the outcome, everybody will have to accept it. If you do not accept it, you still have the opportunity to take it into the Supreme Court. And looking at some of what is trending, on the social media this morning, Justice Tesami is struggling to read out sections in the Constitution and what is in front of him. What is all this? It looks like, as Falana says, it seems that Nigerians are pushing, the judges, to go either the wrong way or the right way. But we must allow justice, to come true. It's been all eyes on the justice, all eyes on Ugo, all eyes on Justice Bolaji, all eyes on Justice Bello and Justice Ada. But the question you ask is, whatever the outcome is, if this tends to favor the President Bola Tinubu, would that mean that he has literally, behind the scene, put the pressure? Many Nigerians believe that the pressure started from INEC when the result has been manipulated, and whatever INEC has already put out, it is now up to the judges, based on more evidence, to decide whether INEC was right to deliver to Tinubu the return certificate as the president that led to his inauguration about 102 days ago. But as of today, is this going to be upturned? We would all have to wait, because this judgment is not coming very soon. Behind the screen there, you can see that these are part of the INEC materials that even a secondary school will probably not do such mistake. You can see the numbers have changed. We were told that when the chairman of INEC came here to speak to us at Chatham House, he gave the assurance that the result will be collated and you can view it live. But maybe because of technology, maybe because of technical glitch, that didn't happen. Remember also, there is the 25% of FCT. It seems that that again is something that has been deliberated back to back. All these now is left to all these judges to make the final decision on who remain the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Like I said yesterday, heaven is not going to fall. We are already today, and we just have to wait a little bit, maybe by the 1800 hours when we come to the Niger diaspora, Niger Voices rather, we will be able to give the outcome. But as I speak to you right now, I am not able to tell any of our listeners in Africa, across the continent, that the outcome will be this.
Listen to Starr Radio UK. Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are monitoring events in the courts, the Federal Court Tribunal that is sitting to adjudicate the election, the presidential elections that took place last year. Is it last year or this? Sometime not in February. It was in February this year. February this year. Yeah. Okay. So we're still there, but now let's talk about Nigerians as a whole. Now, measuring the temperature on the ground, how do you see? Because some people put in hashtag Save Nigeria today or stuff like that. So, we are looking at it. How tense are people down there?
It's very tense. I got to tell you that. We already have those in support of the president with their placard. I'm not sure whether they have been moved, but also we've seen the opposition as well with their own placard. Whether they're going to be moved or allowed to be able to do, according to the Constitution, their right to protest. But there has been a lot of push, in the last 24 hours. I was looking at the communique coming out from Rivers State that yes, you are allowed for protest, but again, we might be able to stave a little bit on that. And looking at the reaction this morning, from what I'm gauging, it seems already that Nigerians across, I don't know whether this is yet confirmed, but there's a breaking news coming that the tribunal have struck out the petition seeking Tinubu's disqualification. We're going to come back again to that. I'm going down to what she raised on the ground. I read somewhere that the police claim that the activists arrested because the Unilag, there's another problem in Lagos State. But like you did ask, is there tension as we speak right now on the ground? Yes, there is tension, and it seems that tension is not just happening in Abuja. Right now, there's also pandemonium in Unilag as security operatives arrest, they are shooting the student over the school fees. Why is all this happening simultaneously? Again, the reaction is, why are the judges' faces not being shown? I thought there was seen need for transparency. Let me give you one of the video that I picked up this morning from some of the reaction. And this is how this in the video says save Nigeria, and as for those that wants to save Nigeria. Let's listen to this. Well, the tension is there, but let's hope that the tension would doze off by tomorrow.
Well, listeners, it's quite an interesting time and development in Nigeria this morning. But wherever you are, we want to say thank you very much for tuning in to listen to us as well. He says that Olayomi was saying that, well, they said it's going to take a bit of time for the judgment to come through because it's a lengthy. When they're giving the judgment, they have to read lots of whatever thing that they have to explain why and what before they go on. So we'll be monitoring it very, very closely. If the final judgment doesn't come through now, as we did say on the Niger Voices this evening, exactly at 18 hours or 6 p.m. local time.
There's another breaking news that is just coming right now. There's a fire incident, a severe damage at the international wing of the Muritala Mohammed Airport. These also happened at about 1500 hours this morning. That's about 15 minutes past 6 a.m. There is a fire incident that has damaged the international wing of the Muritala Mohammed Airport. That is the breaking news that is just reaching us through the wire as well. I'll come back again to you in the studio as there's still much more when it comes to the election petition tribunal that is still ongoing. And like I said, this is also being transmitted. So many Nigerians that are glued around the world would love to see what is going to be the outcome. I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Okay, yeah, Tons EJ, good morning. It says good afternoon. White Lion and Archie, good afternoon to you. We thank God Nigeria has not happened to you, as we say on this platform. But listeners, is this Starr Radio? Okay, now let's look at one other story before I allow you to now give us some more breakdown on what is happening there in the courts. Okay, now Lagos, Katsina, Sokoto workers shun the NLC strike grounds Abuja states. Now, are they going for the are they embarking on a strike, or they've decided to stop the strike? What is it? What is it exactly happening there? Yeah.
Well, it's not just Lagos State, Katsina, and Sokoto. We saw that in a particular state, in Ondo State, yesterday. There was like the NLC either trying to drag out the workers out of the building so that they can come into the NLC. Remember that there's still wrangling, there's still issues between the federal government and the Nigerian Labour Congress. But it seems that Lagos State, Katsina, and Sokoto are not ready, and as workers shun the Nigerian Labour Congress strike, grounds Abuja and some other states. What do we know? The strike was called by the Nigerian Labour Congress to protest the failure of the federal government of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to provide palliatives, even though the DSS yesterday, from information coming out, says that some of the palliative is already being sold out in the market in some state. I'm going to come back to that later. And the reason for the palliative was following the fuel subsidy removal. But yesterday, there were some places that were grounded economic and commercial activities, but in states like Lagos, Sokoto, and Katsina, literally snub the Labour, Congress. Does that mean that it's kind of a disunity between the NLC members in each of the states? But we know that banks and other financial institutions and civil services in the three states, as well as Delta, Bayelsa, and Ogun State, did not also comply with the NLC directive to shut down services as they attended to their customers. The two-day strike, which was meant to be yesterday and today, paralyzed activities at the Federal Capital Territory, which is still ongoing with the Election Petition Tribunal. So it's like a double barrel going on in Abuja today, as the NLC has paralyzed the system and operation. The tribunal as well is also making its own. That means that there's so much tension on the ground. But like I said, the security agencies have been pulled out, mostly in Abuja.
Okay. Because they have to go to Abuja to go and see to this election tribunal thing, where they're talking about the fact that the military and the police have blocked various roads in the federal capital. We hope that peace is kept, whatever the situation is. And if the verdict goes against you, you have the right to go to the Supreme Court to go and also put your case or appeal the decision. But we don't want anybody to go on to behave in a ruling manner to destroy people's life or destroy people's property. That shouldn't happen at all. But listeners, it is Starr Radio UK 1120, and I will leave the rest of the stories to Olayomi. Over to you, Yomi.
Okay, what we can tell you so far is the Allied People's Movement petition have been struck off. The tribunal has literally struck out the APM petition, saying it has no local standing to challenge the nomination of a candidate of another political party. The petition is also struck out on the ground of lack of locals to raise the issue of a valid nomination of Kashima Shettima, the vice president. The Allied People's Movement petition is an abuse of the court process, having ventilated the same issues before the Federal High Court. Their action is mala fide. That is coming as the court continue to give their judgment. Remember that it's not just the APC, Labour Party and the PDP. We also have some smaller parties that are also taking the bigger ones into the the current situation. Now let's come back again because of the time, but later on at 1800 hours we would have more time to look at so many of the news coming out of Nigeria this morning. Once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Not a very good news again, as a road accident have claimed 6 lives in Ondo State, the southwest of Nigeria. Federal government accused of illegally licensing companies to mine at Cross River National Park. We've been talking about illegal mining going on in the north and some part of the southwest and the middle belt across the country. But it seems that the minister for that position, Dele Alake, would have a lot of work to do to be able to curb as many of the illegal mining. One also came out from Ilorin where, the Chinese were paraded. But I saw another news yesterday that some of those also were able to flee the scene of the mining, and you wonder how they're able to go into each of these part of Nigeria and then continue to mine illegally if there is no hands between the security operatives and those that call themselves the royal fathers in each of the states as well. Again, the judgment day. Pro-Tinubu protesters have now stormed the Presidential Election Tribunal, and most of the youth have dressed in black and red attire branded with ex-militant Asari Dokubo's name. An ally of Tinubu arrived at the court early with placard. I'm not sure why they were given that opportunity to push into, but remember that Asari Dokubo was able to meet with Tinubu some few weeks back. Even he was able to display as many of his security operatives because he said he also works with the government, even though the Nigerian army dismissed such news as well. PDP losses as APC Oshiomhole win at the election tribunal. This is another tribunal at the ongoing other state activities. Like I say, the images of the vice president has arrived with other guests at that particular election tribunal. Let's take one more as then go straight to the social media. One in strike. Kano governor asked the Nigerian Labour Congress to allow essential services to operate. 20 Ibadan internet fraudsters have been arrested by the EFCC. Again, the army asks most of its troops to respect the civilians' right during operations. Now let's go straight to the social media and then come back again to you at 11:24. And most of what is being discussed right now, so like I said, it might take about 3 to 5 hours before the judgment that many Nigerians around the world are expecting. So what do we know? The president arrived in India and has met with one of the billionaires in India as they are trying to bring as many investors back into the country. But this morning, 25% is trending at 33.7%, and also many the SP Benjamin Udonye says hashtag Nigerian first, think hashtag Nigeria. Abdulaziz Nabi Abubakar says disqualification of a candidate is a pre-election matter. Double nomination is now settled. I have stopped watching at this junction. Let's see more reaction. Reno Mokere says the fact that the Presidential Election Petition Court have dismissed the APM suit on the eligibility of President Bola Tinubu and the Vice President Shettima means that they would also dismiss Peter Obi's suit, which is also based on the same eligibility ground. Mo at Morris_Moyen says Justice disqualification of a candidate on the basis of double nomination is a pre-election matter. Damn, first technicality. And again, 99% oppressor. I have received this DM from one of my followers. The message in it broke my heart. I must confess, brother, my hero. I want you to know today, I might be anonymous due to security concern, because many journalists that are working, especially those that are critics of the government, are always concerned of their safety first, and that is why many of them have left the country, and those in the country are sometimes not found, like Daddy Yati. Again, President Tinubu arrives in India and heads straight into the top-level investment meeting with Induja, the chairman, after 15-hour journey. Quite a long trip for the president for the G20 coming up this weekend in India. Again, rerun is trending. PEP is trending. The PEP judgment is trending. Nuru Ribadu is trending. And as we can say, justice is trending as well. Nnamdi Kanu is trending at also 18.9. But mostly, Supreme Court is trending at 132,000. As many Nigerians' eyes are glued on the social media, on the mainstream media, and on those on the ground to know exactly what is going to happen. But later on, we might have a result before 1800 hours. Star Radio UK, because of the time constraint of the PMQ, I'll return back again now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koike for you, and I said that today is Judgment Day, but we hope that judgment is not mixed up with anger and distraction. Whatever the situation is, there should be peace, and we hope that the security agencies are doing their work, I mean, such that they are not being biased. Let me put it that way. We hope so. We hope so. Now, if somebody is a critic of the government, they shouldn't go chasing them because they are saying that this is not right. Well, and again, we want to encourage supporters as well, that if you think that your leaders, the verdict is against your leader and it's not good for him, encourage him to go to the Supreme Court to appeal. All right, then. Listen to Star Radio UK. So, Yomi, virtually, we're going to be looking at the presidential petition this evening, right?
Definitely, yeah. That will be the conversation, this evening.
But do you think, like, before we go, do you think that the appointment that Tinubu has made, I keep on asking that question every time, and structures that is put in place? We were talking about palliatives that has now even ended up in the market where people are selling palliatives, which we know that they are not supposed to be free for people. Now, I think all these policies that is putting across, trying to some way, somehow bring the country back on track. Do you think it would be fair if the verdict goes against him to say that he needs to leave the scene so that there's a rerun of the election? Let's think hypothetically.
Well, he has only been there just less than 110 days. So if the judgment do not favor him, whatever the judgment is, I don't think Nigerians would take what Tinubu is trying to do, because they will also say that Atiku has the same plan to revive the economy. Peter Obi also have the same intention. I think the three of them says in their manifesto and in their campaign, just before the February 25th election, that they're trying to bring back Nigeria to the to exactly where Nigeria is meant to be, because it seems that Nigeria is really lacking behind when it comes to within Africa and around the world. So whatever the outcome is, whether the election tribunal does not favor the president, I don't think the 100 days really matters. You're quite right. It's quite very sad that palliatives meant for those that are struggling. The DSS has apprehended suspect over the palliative diversion. The Department of the State Services has received report from some state government relating to the diversion, not just diversion, even the sales of palliatives meant for their citizens. And again, it shows a country that many people are desperate, and like some we say that they've just sometimes sold their heart to the devil, because you wonder why the palliatives that is meant to cushion the people have now been sold, not just by individual. We're talking about management this was sold by the Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency and their accomplice in the market, notably Modern Market in Lafia, where the items were being resold. The suspect, however, have been handed over for their appropriate disciplinary measure. The service therefore calls on the members of the public who have been information relating to this emerging trend to report. The question is, palliative meant for those struggling then end up in the market. I was looking at those, again, going back to what you said, Tinubu is expected to give Nigeria a $1 trillion GDP. How he's going to do that, we don't know yet. But also, he is expected to provide 50 million jobs to Nigerians and elevate 100 million from poverty. All these is very easy to be discussed on the paper and presentation in the PowerPoint, but the implementation is what really matters. And maybe that is why Tinubu has traveled few days ahead to discuss with India, because we know that India, when it comes to the economy today, has become part of the global economy that is strong. Especially India was part of the BRICS as well. So maybe that's why Tinubu traveled ahead, so that they have more time, as his first meeting with the billionaire took place yesterday.
Well, listen at Starr Radio UK. Now, interestingly, do you think that if Tinubu, let's say hypothetically again, Tinubu should win this court case, do you think there's a case where he could bring let's say Labour and PDP, give them some appointment? Because we have a similar situation that happened in Kenya, where there was supposed to be a rerun, and when Kenyatta was said to have won, and Uhuru Kenyatta, when the court ruled out the election was annulled and there should be a rerun, they went for the rerun, but Odinga decided not to be part of it. He was angry, he said he wasn't going to be part of it. But what Uhuru Kenyatta did was that after everything, he brought Odinga in, because Odinga was causing lots of trouble. He could have gotten his supporters to, stoke lots of trouble. But he brought Odinga in. Do you think that Tinubu can think that way, thinking, let me bring them in, let's put our heads together as all Nigerians trying to build the same country and better the lives of our people? Do you think that can happen at all?
Well, you already have one of the strong member of the PDP in his minister as the FCT, we're talking about the former River State Governor Nelson Wike. He has actually also told us that the reason why many of these politicians, they might be giving us a different view in the front, but behind the scene they are lobbying for Tinubu to give them position. I can't take that to the market, because I know that Wike is just saying his own. But in terms of whether Atiku as a political party and Peter Obi will be ready to fortify whatever the outcome is, if that outcome favors Tinubu, to work with him to build the Nigeria for those that still believe in Nigeria, that chances is very, very slim, because even Atiku and Peter Obi could not come together to defeat the APC.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Yomi will have to go, but let me say good morning to Mr. Dave West, and thank you very much for joining us as well. And it's nice to know that you are doing well. Regards to your lovely wife Jenny. Yes. So Yomi, before you go,
well, join me at 1800 hours when we will be reviewing the outcome of the Presidential Election Tribunal. As nobody knows what is going to be the final outcome, but we'll have to be very, very patient for probably maybe more hours before we get the final result. And on that note, I'll leave you with Archie, as we're also preparing to PMQ, as there's so much to be discussed as the Prime Minister prepares for the next event.
Okay, Yomi, thank you very, very much. We'll catch up later then. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. This is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. As he said, this evening exactly at 18 hours or 6 p.m. local time in Nigeria, he will bring you the Niger Voices. Okay, and he will be looking at the election petition verdict. How are you seeing it? How is it going? Was it against your party, or you thinking that, well, all that we need is just to sort of just go our separate ways, and therefore whatever the decisions are or is doesn't actually, you don't give a monkeys about it. Let me put it that way. All right, enjoy this song from the Zongo Man. It says, use the ballot box. They use the ballot box, but the institutions seem not to be working the way they're supposed to, and therefore we have all this going on. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned. quoting from the Zongo man, he says, use the ballot box to give them the bloody nose. And he talks about there should be, or elections should be free and fair, no intimidation, no all those unscrupulous things that we see during elections. However, they all took place. Not only in Nigerian elections, in Ghana's elections, and in Gabon's elections, where we saw that Ali Bongo, who has been in power for 16 years, I mean, if your people are doing very, very, very well, then we say that you can go for an election, and even that, for you to win 64%, unless of course people didn't turn out, or the people were intimidated, and it was only your people or majority of your people who went out to go and vote. If that's what it's saying, then fine. But when you see blatantly that everything is flawed and there is no transparency, there is intimidation, and there is people conjuring and conniving and whatever con that you want to put across, they are doing and embarking on that to win elections, then we have a problem, because it's getting to a point where the youth are getting to a point where they are all fed up with what is going on. Because we still have these old folks who think that they know. I call them the BBC guys, the BBC born before computer guys. They don't even have a clue how things actually take along now in the world that we are living in. We're talking about AI. Are they agile? How agile are our leaders? But interestingly, we have institutions that are not strong enough. So do you think this democracy that we're practicing in our part of the world is the right one? When you see corruption growing and growing and growing, and nobody is able to apprehend or stop people from doing so. What do you think about all that? Let me hear it from you. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio, okay? 11:42 the time. Let me announce the lines open. 0208-133-2257 or 58. 0208-133-2257 or 58. If you happen to be in the US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, 0017183032737. 0017183032737. You can text or WhatsApp us. It's 0753-966-1744. 0753-966-1744. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right then. So whatever it is, get in touch, and I will let you know. All right. So now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning in other parts of the world, whilst we're monitoring what is happening in Nigeria as well. Okay. So on other in other parts of Africa, well, the junta, as they call them, at least 2 people have been killed in anti-junta protests on the eve of a coup anniversary in Guinea. At least 2 people were killed in Guinea's capital Conakry when armed security forces attacked their neighborhoods of political activists on the eve of planned demonstrations against the junta that seized power in 2021. Protest organizers said on Tuesday. A collective of opposition parties and organizations said in a statement that 2 young men, aged 16 and 18, had been killed during an operation by security forces in the capital suburbs on Monday, the eve of the 2nd anniversary of the September 5, 2021 putsch. No comment was obtained from the authorities. The Force Vibes collective had called for a peaceful march on Tuesday and demand a swift return to civilian rule, but the authorities banned all public gatherings. The Ministry of Territorial Administration issued a press release on Monday evening recalling the former ban on supports movements and demonstrations on public thoroughfares decreed in May 2022. It cited the need to preserve public tranquility. As has been the case every time the authorities have prevented demonstrations since 2022, scattered mobile groups of young people set up a barricade, burned tires, and pelted security forces with stones. The latter retaliated with riot gears, and the neighbors of Sonfonia, Wanindara, and Hamdalayi, traditional hotbeds of protests, witnesses said that's where the incidents did take place there. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, let me just bring you this one quickly and then we move on. The 53 members of the Burkina security are being killed, and definitely you know who by. But let me just move on quickly because we are pressed with time. Okay. Okay, my apologies, okay, yes, that's the story. Well, the Gabon's new strongman, General Brice Oligui Nguema, on Tuesday met the Central African Republic's President, Faustin Achanga Todera, who has been named regional mediator of the countries following last week's coup. The Economic Community of Central Africa, ECAS, has appointed Todera facilitator of the political process in Gabon following the August 30 overthrow of President Ali Bongo Ondimba. He has been tasked with meeting all Gabonese actors and partners of the country with the goal of providing a rapid return to constitutional order. The television gave no details of the talks, which came a day after ECAS member Equatorial Guinea said Gabon had been suspended from the 11-nation group. Now, ECAS also ordered the immediate transfer of its headquarters from Gabon's Libreville to the Equatorial Guinea's capital of Malabo. The country's Vice President Teodoro Nguema Obiang Mango said on Twitter or X. In addition to Gabon, Central African Republic, and Equatorial Guinea, ECAS comprises Angola, Burundi, Cameroon, Chad, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Sao Tome and Principe. Oligui, head of the elite Republican Guard, was sworn in on Monday as the country's interim president. In a speech, he promised to hold free, transparent, and credible elections to restore civilian rule, but without giving a time frame, and vow to amnesty political prisoners. Well, so he says he's going to return you there again. But the question once again is, do we have the institutions for us to say, yes, we love the democracy that we hope to have in our part of the world? Or it's just one of those things where all that we're thinking about is, you know what, yeah, we can do it, and let's just get on with it. Well. Meanwhile, corruption and all sorts seem to be going on. Well, the past $1 million theft case, former house help seeks bail and boyfriend bail request refused. Now, lawyers of 18-year-old Patience Bochwe, who is said to be the mastermind of the €1,300,000 theft case at the residence of the former Minister for Sanitation, Madam Cecilia Dapa, have been refused bail. But, well, information coming through say the Office of the Special Prosecutor has released monies seized from the former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa and re-seized them again. The High Court in Accra ordered the Office of the Special Prosecutor to return seized properties from residents of embattled former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa to her within 7 days from Thursday, that's August 31. This was after the court, presided over by Justice Edward Chung, ruled that the OSP acted wrongly in exercising its powers to conduct a search in the home of the former minister. The court said the OSP per the law violated conditions precedent before it could make such order to seize those properties it deemed suspected tainted property with corruption. In adhering to the orders of the court, the Office of the Special Prosecutor in a statement indicated that it has consequently invoked his statutory power under Section 38, Subsection 1, Act 959 and Regulation 19, Subsection 1 of LI 2374 by directing the freezing of the bank account and investment of Ms. Dapa. The OSP added that the freezing takes effect from the 5th of September 2023. Attached is a statement there. So he said, release it. Okay, so yes, I've released it, but I'm freezing it from the 5th of September. That is interesting, isn't it? Yes, okay. We see how it all pans out when it comes to Ghana. We're talking about institutions. So maybe our institutions seem to be working, but who knows? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. I wanted to bring you one other story from Ghana, but it looks like I need to move on from there since we are already pressed with time. Now, in the UK front, list of schools affected by crumbling concrete in England have been published by government. We'll be telling you more about all that as the program goes on. All right. So in other parts of the world, in the US, well, the Proud Boys' former leader Enrique Tarrio has been jailed for 22 years for orchestrating the attack on the US Capitol on the 6th of January 2021. It is the longest sentence handed down so far over the attack, which happened as lawmakers were certifying President Joe Biden's 2020 election victory. Now, Tarrio, 39, was not in Washington during the riot, but helped organize the far-right group involvement. The prosecutor had recommended a sentence of 33 years in prison. That was the longest suggested prison sentence to come from the Department of Justice sprawling investigation into the riot, which has so far seen more than 1,100 people arrested and charged. Rioters turned out in support of the then President Donald Trump, who continues to deny that he lost the 2020 elections. He has promised to pardon most of all the rioters if he is re-elected president in 2024. Tarrio was convicted in May of seditious conspiracy, Civil War era charge, and multiple other counts. He has been in jail since his arrest last year. Well, so he has 1 year struck off already before he starts. Everybody's all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then, let's move on to some other stories. Streets turn to rivers in deadly floods in Bulgaria. A flooding caused by heavy rain leads to at least 10 deaths in Bulgaria, Turkey, and Greece. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there. But one from Aung San Suu Kyi's camp. And the story says, Myanmar's detained former leader Aung San Suu Kyi is being denied medical care despite her ill health, her son has said. Kim Aris said the junta ruling the country blocked prison authorities' request for his mother's urgent care. Now, sources familiar with the matter, Burmese severe toothache have left the 78-year-old unable to eat. However, a junta spokesman said Ms. Suu Kyi is in good health and gets checkups from military and civilian doctors. Now, Ms. Suu Kyi has been detained since February 2021 when she was ousted by a military coup. In July, she was moved from prison to house arrest in the Burmese capital, Naypyidaw. But it is unclear where in the city she is being held. To deny a sick prisoner access to recommend medical care is callous and cruel, Mr. Aris said in a text message to the BBC Burmese. A 46-year-old who is based in the UK said his mother has been vomiting and endures severe dizziness due to ill health. Now, how do you know that information? Well, I bet you they will not allow you to talk to your mom, right? Somebody say right or wrong, whichever it is. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Okay, now 6 minutes to the end of the first part of the program. So let me take you straight to the UK here, where we're going to be looking at a couple of the stories making the rounds here as well. Birmingham hosting the games was a mistake, says advisor. Bankrupt Birmingham City Council should not have hosted the Commonwealth Games. That is what is being claimed. But the question here, once again, is we had in Australia, Adelaide, where they were saying that they were not, they've withdrawn their bid to host the Commonwealth Games. So either that these Commonwealth Games are not giving the countries or the host nations enough funds or enough money to go or to do whatever things that they are doing, and now it looks like they think that, you know what, we don't want to know nothing pertaining to what you guys would really want to do. So what do you think there? That mean that we're going to be ending maybe every Commonwealth game will have to be held in London? Is that what it's going to be? And will the mayor of London also not say that, well, we are running bankrupt? Well. I think he is getting lots of money already. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story that is very important. The government has published 19 school term delayed due to unsafe concrete. 19 schools have had their start to new term delayed according to the Department for Education's data, and they are Hornsey School for Girls, St. William of York Catholic Primary School, Hatfield Peveril St. Andrew Junior School, Our Lady Catholic High School, Outwoods Primary School, Hadley High School, East Bergholt High School, Arc, Bolton Academy, Woodville Primary School, Water Lane Primary Academy, Cherry Tree Academy, Arthur Bolga Primary School, Claydon High School, Kingsdown School, Ferry Hill School, St. Teresa's Catholic Primary School, St. Francis Catholic Primary School, Buckhurst Hill Community Primary School, and the Holy Family Catholic School in Kelly. Well, those are the list that has been published. But Richard Sunak is being grilled, or is going to be grilled on the concrete crisis at Prime Minister's Question Time, and that is going to be happening in the next few moments. It comes after the government published a list of schools in England. It was known that 104 schools were still affected by the concrete. More than 50 others have been mitigated. The government waited to publish their list until it had checked with the schools in question. So that's what's happening there. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and this is where I bring the program to a close. But as we said, this evening, exactly like 18 hours BST or 6 p.m. local time, Mr. Olayomi Koiki will be coming your way with the Niger Voices. So make a date with him when he comes your way. But for now, let's have a quick break or some musical break, and I'll bring you the PMQ, the first one after the long summer break.
It's like my favorite song on this album, y'all. It's no secret in our world. People like to talk the things they know and the ones they don't. They will spread lies and rumors just to be known. So why are you wasting your time like this? Hearing those things that break your heart. Give no attention, give no thoughts, because people talk, but they'll never help you walk. So whenever they speak, look up and you will see a broken pencil and a sheet, and tell them, say, I'm writing names of properties. Yeah.
All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names names of tall cards.
I'm writing names of tall
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All of this noise you're making on me.
Teacher,
Teacher will catch you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
There are many voices in this life, and to be honest, many are not nice. So don't hear something and pick a knife, 'cause most of these things are nothing but life.
Troubles, momentum, sort of gaining momentum of issue by issue, the party not being able to get lift off. The question is whether or not Prime Minister's questions today reflects that. Both leaders will have had tips and training for PMQs over the summer. Can Rishi Sunak find the language to defend his government? Can he get back on the front foot despite all of the troubles that we've seen, from small boats to the schools crisis? Can Keir Starmer be punchy enough to properly cut through and make the case and to press home the advantage that Labour undoubtedly feel that they've had from the news agenda over the last few days? I think we're about to find out. It's an important one.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to start by
Minister's just taken to his feet.
the Wiegman and the Lionesses for their fantastic performance at the World Cup. We are all incredibly proud of them. Mr. Speaker, I also know the whole House will want to join me in sending condolences to the family, friends and colleagues of Sergeant Graham Saville. It is a testament to his bravery that he died in the line of duty, and a terrible reminder of the work the police do every day to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Labour Party used to claim that it represents working class people. But Labour's ULEZ expansion to Greater London will now hammer millions of working people with bills of £12.50 per day or £4,500 per year. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that it's unacceptable for Londoners and those in surrounding counties to face this regressive and unacceptable tax? And will he do everything that he can to help working people?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I agree with my honourable friend. It is disappointing that last week the Labour leader allowed the Labour mayor to introduce ULEZ, charging hard-working people £12.50 every time they start their car, adding to the burden of the cost of living. All I can say, Mr. Speaker, is while we focus on helping hard-working families, all he does is punish them.
We now come to Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join the Prime Minister in congratulating the Lionesses and his comments about Sergeant Saville? I think we all speak for the whole House when we speak on that subject. I'd also like to extend the warmest welcome to our new Labour member for Selby and Ainsty. He's already made history for the Labour Party by overturning the largest Tory majority ever in a by-election. And I'd also welcome the honourable members for Uxbridge and South Ruislip, Somerton and Frome. Mr. Speaker, the roof of Singlewell Primary School in Gravesend collapsed in May 2018. Thankfully it happened at the weekend and no children were injured. The concrete ceiling was deemed dangerous and liable to collapse, and everyone knew the problem existed in other schools. Yet the Prime Minister decided to halve the budget for school maintenance just a couple of years later. Does he agree with his Education Secretary that he should be thanked for doing a good job?
Mr. Speaker, I know how concerned parents, children and teachers are, and I want to start by assuring them that the government is doing everything it can to fix this quickly and minimise the disruption to children's education. We make no apology for acting decisively in the face of new information. and let me provide the House with an update on where we are. Of the 22,000 schools in England, the vast majority won't be affected. In fact, in 2/3 of inspections of suspected schools, RAC is not actually present. And to tackle the 1% of schools that have been affected so far, the 1%, we are assigning each of those schools a dedicated caseworker and providing extra funding to fix the problem. In the majority of cases, children will attend school as normal, and the mitigations take typically just days or weeks to complete. We will do everything we can to help parents, support teachers, and get children back to normal school life as quickly as possible.
Keir Starmer.
Well, Mr. Speaker, Wood Green Academy in Sandwell was on Labour's building list in 2010. They scrapped it, and now children there are in a crumbling school. The head of the National Audit Office accuses him of taking a sticking plaster approach. The NAO report says he cut £869 million. The person who ran the Department for Education says he is personally responsible. On Monday, he leapt to his own defence, saying it's utterly wrong to blame him. So why does literally everyone else say it's his fault?
Mr. Speaker, the professional advice from the technical experts on RAC has evolved over time, and indeed it is something that successive governments have dealt with dating back to 1994, Mr. Speaker. Now, as new advice has come forward, the government has rightly, decisively and swiftly acted in the face of that advice. But he talked about school budgets and talked about what I had done, but let me just walk him through the facts of actually what that spending review did, because he brought it up. Well, no, he's brought it up, so presumably he would like to hear the facts. Funding for school maintenance and rebuilding will average £2.6 billion a year over this Parliament as a result of that spending review, which represents a 20% increase on the years before. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, far from cutting budgets, as he alleges, the amount spent last year was the highest in a decade. That spending review maintained, Mr. Speaker, that spending review maintained the school rebuilding programme, delivering 500 schools over a decade, a pace completely consistent with what had happened previously. And, Mr. Speaker, it is worth pointing out that during the parliamentary debates on that spending review, the Labour Party and him did not raise the issue of RAC one single time. So before he jumps on the next political bandwagon, he should get his facts straight.
Mr. Speaker, Carmel College in Darlington was on the Labour's building list in 2010. They scrapped it, and now children there are in a crumbling school. And on the one hand, we have him saying it's nothing to do with him. On the other side, we have the facts. And there's a simple way to clear this up. Why doesn't he commit to publish the requests from the Department of Education for the school rebuilding programme and what risks he was warned of before he turned them down?
Mr. Speaker, the honourable gentleman has now brought up twice the Labour school rebuildings programme. He's now brought it up twice. So let's just look at that and look at the facts surrounding that, because we do know the truth about that programme, Mr. Speaker, because the NAO, as he's called on, actually reviewed that programme later on. What did they find? They found that Labour's school rebuilding programme actually excluded 80% of schools. Next, what do they find? That it was a third more expensive than it needed to be, needlessly wasting resources that have gone to schools. And Mr. Speaker, this is the worst bit. The worst bit is that programme, because now he's talking about the physical condition of schools, that programme only allocated funds solely on the basis of ideology, with no regard whatsoever to the physical condition of schools, Mr. Speaker. That's why the independent James Review described that programme as time-consuming and expensive, just like the Labour Party.
We don't want to start off with somebody leaving so early. because that's what's going to happen. Keir Starmer.
Well, Mr. Speaker, they want more, so let me continue. Ferryhill School in County Durham was on Labour's building list in 2010. They scrapped it, and now children there are in a crumbling school. The truth is, this crisis is the inevitable result of 13 years of cutting corners, botched jobs, sticking plaster politics. It's the sort of thing you expect from cowboy builders, saying that everyone else is wrong, everyone else is to blame, protesting they've done an effing good job, even as the ceiling falls in. The difference, Mr. Speaker, is that in this case, the cowboys are running the country. Isn't he ashamed that after 13 years of Tory government, children are cowering under steel supports, stopping their classroom roof falling in?
Anymore. Just seriously, I will calm down. First session, I understand people are excited to be back at school. Will we expect better behaviour? Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this is exactly the kind of political opportunism that we've come to expect from Captain Hindsight over here. Before today, he's never once raised this issue with me across this dispatch box. It wasn't even worthy of a single...
It's the same for this side as well. Can I just say, we're going to have a calmer question times going forward. I want to hear the question, I want to hear the answers, just like your constituents, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, before today, he never once raised this issue with me in Parliament. It wasn't even worthy of a single mention in his so-called landmark speech on education this summer. And if we'd listened to him, our kids would have been off school and locked down for longer. It's as simple as that. He talks about 13 years. Well, let's see what happened. When we came into office, 2/3 of schools were good and outstanding. Now it's 90%, Mr. Speaker. We introduced the pupil premium to get more funding to the most disadvantaged pupils, Mr. Speaker. Today they are 75% more likely to go to university, and as a result of our reforms, we now have the best readers in the Western world, Mr. Speaker. That's what 13 years of education reform gets you, all of which opposed by the party opposite.
But it claims to be a man of detail. There are 100 parliamentary questions from this side on this issue and an opposition day motion. But Mr. Speaker, let us continue. Holy Family Catholic School in Bradford was on the Labour building list in 2010. They scrapped it, and now children there too are in a crumbling school.
Mr. Holden, I think I've heard enough. No then, this is the last time you make your mind up. You either go now or you're quiet for the rest of us.
And Mr. Speaker, if you can believe it, in April this year, the Education Secretary signed a contract for refurbishment of her offices. It's got a personal stamp of approval on it. It cost, I can't quite believe this, £34 million. Can he explain to parents whose children aren't at school this week why he thinks a blank cheque for his Tory minister's office is better use of taxpayers' money than stopping schools collapsing?
Well, Mr. Speaker, what I'd say to parents is, in the receipt of new information, we have acted decisively to ensure the safety of children and minimise disruption to education, as we have laid out and communicated extensively. That is the right thing to do. And I would also gently point out to him, Mr. Speaker, whilst the Department for Education started this process 18 months ago in spring of last year, as far as I can tell, in Labour-run Wales, they still don't know which schools are affected, Mr. Speaker. But again, he brought up this issue of funding, Mr. Speaker. And again, let's look back to what happened in that spending review. Because in that spending review, I increased the Department for Education's capital budget by 25% to a record £7 billion, Mr. Speaker. It tripled the amount that we spend on children with special education needs and disabilities. It improved the condition of the overlooked FE estate, and it set the course for per pupil funding to be the highest ever. But it also, Mr. Speaker, Speaker, crucially, invested £5 billion to help our pupils recover the lost learning from COVID. £5 billion, Mr. Speaker, and he might remember that because we wanted pupils learning, he wanted longer lockdowns.
I think he just doesn't get how this "it's all fine out there" is so at odds with the lived experience of millions of working people across this country. And Mr. Speaker, let's go on. This is a long list. At least 6 schools in Essex were on Labour's building list in 2010. They scrapped them, and now children there are in crumbling schools. What he won't admit is the reason he cut these budgets, ignored the warnings, is quite simple. Just like he thought his tax rises were for other families to pay, he thinks his school cuts are for other families to endure. Doesn't it tell you everything you need to know? That he's happy to spend millions of taxpayers' money sprucing up Tory offices, billions to ensure there's no VAT on Tory school fees, but he won't lift a finger when it comes to protecting other people's schools, other people's safety, other people's children.
Mr. Speaker, I know he comes here with these prepared scripts, but he hasn't listened to a single fact of 6 questions about the record amounts of funding going into schools, about the incredible reforms to education impacting the most disadvantaged children in our society, a record that we are rightly proud of. And yes, of course we can name the schools. That's because we are reacting to information and publishing that information, Mr. Speaker, so we know where the issues are, something that we're still waiting for by the Welsh Government in Wales. But Mr. Speaker, of course he wants to try and score political points of something that we are dealing with in the right and responsible way. But I do note that he has not mentioned a single other thing that has happened since we last met across these dispatch boxes, Mr. Speaker. He talked about hard-working families across Britain, but what's happened? Energy bills, down, Mr. Speaker. What's happened to inflation? Down, Mr. Speaker. What's happened to small boat crossings? Down, Mr. Speaker. And when it comes, Mr. Speaker, to economic growth, what's happened? It's gone up, Mr. Speaker. He tried time and time again to talk down the British economy, but people weren't listening, thankfully. His entire economic narrative has been demolished, and the Conservatives are getting on delivering for Britain.
There will be more. Nicola Richards.
Against the backdrop of improving economic news, inflation falling, energy bills coming down, growth up, people in the West Midlands are disappointed to see that Labour-run Birmingham City Council has gone bankrupt. As a Sandwell resident and a West Bromwich MP, I'm no stranger to Labour incompetence. Does the Prime Minister agree that Labour have demonstrated yet again that they always run out of other people's money?
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is exactly right. We started by hearing how Labour in London are charging hard-working people with ULEZ. Now we're hearing about how Labour in Birmingham are failing hard-working people, losing control of taxpayers' money and driving their finances into the ground. They've bankrupted Birmingham, Mr. Speaker. We can't let them bankrupt Britain.
We come to the leader of the SNP, Stephen Flynn.
Mr. Speaker, the public needs no reminding that today marks a year since the Prime Minister's predecessor took office. And upon her speedy departure, they will have thought that things were going to get better. But when we look at unemployment figures, they're higher. When we look at food prices, they're higher. When we look at mortgage rates, they're higher. And economic growth is stagnant. So can I ask the Prime Minister, when is he going to get off his backside and do something about it?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think what the honourable gentleman failed to point out is that the amount of times I've sat across the dispatches from him and his colleagues and heard how somehow we were a laggard when it comes to growth, Mr. Speaker. What he didn't do is take the opportunity to correct the record today, now that the pub figures have been published, which demonstrate, in fact, we had the fastest recovery out of any European economy after COVID.
Stephen Flynn.
Mr. Speaker, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the Prime Minister thinks everything is all right. But let's look at his proposals for the winter when it comes to a cost of living package. Because when it comes to energy bills, his plan, of course, is to do nothing. When it comes to mortgage bills, his plan is to do nothing. And when it comes to food bills, his plan is to do nothing. So when the when the Secretary of State for Education said earlier this week that everyone was doing nothing, she was referring to the Prime Minister, wasn't she?
Mr. Speaker, I think is a little bit out of practice, because when it comes to energy bills, what we have done is pay for around half of a typical family's energy bill over the past year. Support worth £1,500, Mr. Speaker, benefiting families in Scotland. He asks about mortgages, Mr. Speaker. The Chancellor's Mortgage Charter covers 90% of the mortgage market and ensures that a typical mortgage holder can save hundreds of pounds a month when it comes to their mortgage refinancing. And when he talked about energy, thanks to the actions of this government, we are supporting the hundreds of thousands of jobs in the Scottish oil and gas industry, securing this country's energy supply, something that he opposes. I will always do what's right for the people of Scotland, Mr. Speaker, and it's time the SNP did the same.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was delighted when the Prime Minister last year said that on his watch we would not lose swathes of farmland to solar applications, instead rightly arguing for solar to be installed on rooftops. Yet my constituency sees a constant flow of planning applications for solar farms and battery storage plants on food producing land. So can I ask my right honourable friend, when will his pledge become a reality?
Quite right. Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend makes an excellent point. Now, solar is one of the cheapest forms of electricity generation, so it's right that we try and see more of it across the country, but we do need to protect our most valuable agricultural land so that they can produce food for the nation and increase our food security. And that's why, thanks to our changes, the planning system now sets this out explicitly with a clear preference for brownfield sites. Now, of course, we want to do more to encourage barn-top solar, Mr. Speaker, and DEFRA will be updating the House with further information on that policy in due course.
Andrew Bridgen. Mr. Speaker, last week the Prime Minister stated that he was proud of his furlough scheme. I wonder, Mr. Speaker, if he's equally proud of the 400 billion he put on the national debt and the inflation it's caused. Was he proud of the jobs lost, businesses closed and lives crushed due to the lockdowns? Is he proud of the increased NHS waiting list, premature deaths and the 1 million young people now needing mental health support? And finally, Mr. Speaker, is he proud of the excess deaths affecting every one of our constituencies that nobody wants to talk about? And will he give an undertaking to the British public, a solemn undertaking that they will never be inflicted upon them ever again?
Well, Mr. Speaker, as the honourable gentleman knows, there is a formal inquiry regarding COVID which will examine all the decisions that were made, including lockdown and the impacts of them. But with regard to the furlough scheme, Mr. Speaker, I am proud that at a time of extreme anxiety in the country, facing an unprecedented situation, that this government put its arms around the British public to ensure that we protected 10 million jobs. And as the report from the ONS showed last week, those actions, combined with all the other things we did to support the economy, ensured that we had the fastest recovery through the pandemic of any European nation.
Dr. Neil Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a nation of animal lovers, the Conservatives' government record on animal welfare is a source of great pride. But sadly, too many abuses remain, from pet theft, the smuggling of puppies and heavily pregnant dogs, and dogs with their ears horrifically cropped, to the illegal export of horses to Europe for slaughter. These issues are personal to me as a veterinary surgeon and to my constituents, especially animal theft and livestock worrying. Can the Prime Minister reassure the House that animal welfare is a key government priority and that he will bring forward the necessary legislation to tackle these issues as soon as possible?
Mr. Speaker, can I thank my honourable friend for both raising this issue but also his work and expertise in the area. I'm proud that thanks to the actions that previous governments have taken with regard to things like cat microchipping, the ivory ban, or indeed raising the maximum sentence for animal cruelty to 5 years, we are now the highest ranked G7 nation when it comes to World Animal Protection Index. But we are determined to go even further and deliver on our manifesto commitments individually during the remainder of this Parliament.
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister has said he'll lead a government of honesty, accountability and integrity. So can the Prime Minister explain how he was found to have breached the Code of Conduct, this time for failing to declare his wife's shares in a childcare agency which received a monetary boost from measures in his budget?
Mr. Speaker, if the Honourable Lady reads the full transcript and the full findings, she will see a detailed explanation of what happened, which the Commissioner described as a minor and inadvertent breach. But given that at the time I was not aware of the policy that was being discussed with me and corrected it later on and could have corrected it with slightly different language, she'll also know that I'm not the only person across these dispatch boxes that has had the same thing happen to them.
John Penrose. Mr. Speaker, can I interest the Prime Minister in proposals from the Carbon Competitiveness Commission, which I chair, which would deliver net zero cheaply and without deindustrialising our economy? It would help British manufacturers placing imports from countries with lower energy costs, make our exports more competitive everywhere, and cut fuel duty here at home. We have strong backing from Britain's heavy industries, cross-party support from the excellent member from Aberavon, who I see is also on the order paper. So would the Prime Minister consider adding his name to our list of supporters as well?
Well, I'm grateful to my honourable friend and the Commission for Carbon Competitiveness for the report that he's worked on and highlighted. The government is absolutely committed to putting in place the necessary policies for UK industry to decarbonise successfully. As he'll be aware, government recently consulted on addressing carbon leakage in particular with a range of potential options. We're in the process of considering those responses and will issue a formal response in due case.
Starr Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every year, billions of wet wipes go out into our rivers and oceans and clog up our sewers. I've been campaigning on this for years to ban plastic in wet wipes, and the government has finally promised to ban plastic in wet wipes, but that was 5 months ago and there's been nothing since then. So will the Prime Minister today finally give a date when that ban will come into force and make a difference to our environment, or is this another broken promise from his zombie government?
Speaker, in the comprehensive plan for water that was published by the Environment Secretary in April, we did confirm our intention to ban wet wipes containing plastic, subject of course, as is legally proper, subject to a public consultation. That consultation will be launched in the coming months in autumn of this year, and I know ministers will keep the House updated on progress.
Greg McKinley.
Speaker, I'd like to offer some assistance on the small boats issue. Has my right honourable friend considered the incongruity of the fact that a UK dinghy manufacturer trying to sell into the EU market would have to apply the CE marking, customs codes and the potential of being stopped and checked, and similar applies perversely when a simple thing like GB to NI trade. But none of this applies seemingly when these huge supersized dangerous cut and shut dinghies are taken in from Turkey across the EU border into Bulgaria and Greece. Is he as confused as I am by the EU's double standards on this matter?
Well, my honourable friend is absolutely right that we must do all we can to stop the boats and tackle illegal migration, and we know that the export of small boats across parts of the European continent is a vital element of the smuggling gang's tactics, and that's why specifically we are stepping up joint operations with Turkey, Mr. Speaker, and I raised this with the President when we spoke, so that we can tackle organised immigration crime and specifically disrupt the supply chain of boat parts that are used for these dangerous crossings, and I will continue to keep him updated on our progress.
Luke Pollard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 2 years ago in Plymouth, we lost 5 people in the worst mass shooting the country has seen for a decade. The government has finally consulted on firearms reform, but after pressure from shooting groups, even these sensible measures look like they could be watered down. So will the Prime Minister bow down to lobbyists from the shooting industry, or will he stand with the grieving families and those in Plymouth who want to see no other tragedy like this ever happen again with stronger gun laws?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I know how important this issue is to the honourable gentleman following the horrific shooting in his constituency, and my thoughts are with the family of all those who were killed. He will know that firearms are subject to stringent controls, and rightly so, but those controls are kept under constant review. For example, we've taken action to improve information sharing between GPs and the police to make sure that people are not given access to firearms without their medical conditions being checked, and the statutory guidance for chief officers of police have been improving so that how people apply for firearms is assessed properly, including checks on social media. With regard to the matter that he specifically raises, the Home Office is in the process of considering responses to that consultation and will respond in due course.
Stephen Metcalfe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Later today, Mr. Speaker, I'm bringing forward a 10-minute rule bill to include the provision of automated external defibrillators in all new housing developments of 10 dwellings or more. Will my right honourable friend therefore support this provision and ask his relevant cabinet colleagues to engage with me to ensure these life-saving pieces of equipment can become commonplace where they can have the most impact close to people's homes?
Well, Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is right to highlight the importance of these life-saving devices, and that's why the National Planning Policy Framework already expects planning policies and decisions to promote public safety, but it's also why recently the government launched a £1 million fund which will place around 1,000 new defibrillators in communities across England to help improve equality of access to